You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
So, hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of the WOW podcast in association with Ski Weekends, home of short break and flexible ski holidays, and you can stay a bit longer too. Catered chalets in France, hotels in over 30 resorts across Europe and Scandinavia. The ski experts for over 30 years. Visit skiweekends.com. Welcome, Rob. I love your background.
Yeah, hi. You can see my background and you can see that I'm not in my normal place. I am in a hotel in Tignes, which is very, very nice. Hi, welcome everybody. Of course, I'm Rob, PR Director of Ski Press and General Ski Gear Geek. And that's my co-host Dom, and he's publisher at In the Snow magazine.
So each week we talk about ski news from around the ski world, where it's best to ski now, and we uncover the latest ski gear for the season, and we feature some of the best ski destinations on the planet.
Only on the planet, Dom? I mean, actually, this is perhaps a good opportunity to give a shout out to Patrick Thorne's fantastic book, Snow in Space.
Ah, yeah. You can read about it at inthesnow.com/there's snow in space, and even linked through to buy a copy of the book. Very cool book.
It is. I did that many years ago, actually, a few years ago. And my daughter, she loved that book. And she kept asking me when we were going to go for a ski holiday to Mimas. Right? It's one of Saturn's moons. And average temperatures get down to minus 141 degrees.
Oh, wow. That is pretty chilly. I always thought just another Saturn's moon sounded better with its 580 kilometre wide crater with a 15-kilometre vertical drop full of snow. Imagine that.
Yeah, I reckon a company like Vail Resorts could do something with that. Just imagine the real estate potential.
Yeah.
As well.
I think there might be a gravity issue up there, but skiing in space just doesn't provide the same feeling, and it would take days to get down a run like that long. But still, that sounds like good fun.
But maybe you don't need a ski lift to get back up again.
Yeah. There's a commercial opportunity. Done and dusted then.
Yeah, maybe one day, Dom. Should we just shout out to Elon, sorry, if you're listening, let's ski in space one day.
I'm sure he's already on.
There.
Yeah, well, where are you at the moment, Rob?
I'm currently in Tignes. I've been here all week, the Ski Club Great Britain, as they're running the reps course, and I've just been checking that out.
Nice. Snow conditions?
Pretty good. Yeah, conditions on piste are very good. It was nice and sunny yesterday, very cold, about minus 10. Still limited off piste though. I mean, there's pockets of powder. We found some yesterday. But we'll focus on that on the snow section. What about you, Dom?
Off to Alpes d'Huez at the end of the week. So cool. Going to be good. I'm looking forward to getting out there and enjoying some of their sunny slopes. They're famed for their sunny slopes. So I'm looking forward to that. Traveling down and using the Le Tunnel to cross, which will be good. Half an hour crossing, and then drive down to Reims, stay over in Reims, and then on to Alpes d'Huez. First time I've stayed there. I've skied around that area before, but I've not stayed in Alpes d'Huez. So yeah, should be good.
Cool. Great. Sounds good. Right, let's get on to our news section, Dom.
News for this week. What have you got? Carv 2. You tried out Carv 2.
Yeah, I recently did. I tested the latest version of Carv, and that's that, ski technology transforming how we approach skiing. I mean, I went over to Austria's Stubai Glacier literally last week. Challenging conditions over there, sort of heavy snow, lots of snow, bit of a whiteout, but it was really interesting. I mean, the new version of Carv, they've put loads of new improvements in. You don't need to use the inserts anymore that go into your ski boots. I didn't particularly like that, especially with low volume boots. I mean, it's quite hard. But now the hardware is just simply clip it onto the boot strap. And then it's paired with this upgraded algorithm that's designed to adapt to different snow conditions and terrain as well. So you get a much more accurate feedback and score. It's really easy to set up. You just link it to your phone, Bluetooth. I've used Apple AirPods for real-time coaching as well. So you can put your headphones in. I started skiing in free skiing mode and it calculates your ski IQ. And that ranges from 50 to like 150 plus. I mean, some people push it like 170 if they're real sort of almost World Cup level athletes. It's all based on your technique. I've got a score now of I was trying to get to 150. I haven't quite reached it. So I was like, because it gets a bit addictive. I've got to get that 150, got to get that 150. The interesting thing about it is I really felt that it was providing accurate feedback and data. So when you do a good run, it gives you a good score. When you don't do a good run, you feel it hasn't been good, it marks you down. Check that out at getcarv.com. Basically, you buy a subscription. That's what they do now. They charge £199 for a year's subscription, but you get the hardware included with that.
Interesting. Very good. Didn't realize they'd introduced that new model. So that's as in the new payment model. That's very neat. So yeah, more information on that at getcarv.com. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So another news story, Lenzerheide, Swiss ski resort, of course, is kicking off its new World of Wonders campaign with the release of a very exciting video, the Dreamline video. It features free skier Nico Vujnier, and skiing legend Didier Couche, of course, alpine ski racer. They go head-to-head on the slopes, showcasing the resort's unique offerings. I mean, Lenzerheide is kind of positioning itself as this, resort, something for everyone, skiing and snowboarding to year-round sports, easy access from the UK. It's known for kind of hosting lots of events. It's had UCI Mountain Bike World Cup, the FIS Ski World Cup finals. Looking ahead, Lenzerheide is gearing up to host the 2025 Biathlon World Championships. First time it's held that event. So yeah, check out the Dreamline video on YouTube and get a glimpse of what Lenzerheide has in store for this season and beyond.
Very good. Love it. And next story, Great British Ski Test of 2025. So very cool this. So we all go to a trade ski test once a year, but there has been a British ski test launched a couple of years ago. This year for 2025, it's in Pila, again, in Aosta. It's March the 9th to the 15th. And it's for anybody from beginners eager to build confidence or experienced skiers aiming to refine technique. It's a week-long event. It's got something for everyone. So you've got daily on-piste skiing, ski test. You can get the latest skis out there to find the best fit for your style and ability, which is a unique experience because obviously otherwise you're going into a shop and entirely relying on the person in the store, which is fine. But getting out and skiing on them, you cannot beat. Then there's evening activities where you can relax and unwind after a day on the slopes. Great food and wine and social events. So everything you need for a seamless experience, including your lift pass, your transfer, mountain lunch vouchers and all that sort of stuff. So that's great. So you don't have to think about anything. Yeah, great if you just want to try out kit, if you want to upskill a little bit, get some lessons while you're out there as well if you want to, venture off piste if you want to challenge yourself a bit more. It doesn't matter whether you're a solo skier, part of a group, or just looking to meet new people who share their passion for skiing, whatever you want. The Great British Ski Test, definitely a great experience, well worth getting out there. Package prices start from £1,550. You can reserve with only £100. So you can check out more information at gbskitest.com.
This is a great story. Britain's Mia Brookes, 17 years old, won the second Big Air contest of the FIS Snowboard World Cup season at Shugan Park on Sunday. Her third run, a cab 1440 stalefish. I hope I said that right. And 94.00 points, securing a victory with a total score of 179.75. Mia said, I didn't come in to win, just wanted to land my new tricks, so it's sick to win.
Fantastic. One thing I need to know, Rob, while you've been out in teen, have you managed to do a cab 1440 stalefish?
Oh, I do them all the time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
just needed to know.
I do those all the time. I do those as I go out of the hotel room. Actually, on the steps, walking down the icy steps. I do. Yeah, I do the cab 1440 stalefish a lot on those.
By accident.
By accident, yes. Yeah.
Very good. So, and finally, Rob, what has caught our attention this week in our and finally section?
Yeah, well, with all the snowfall coming down in the Alps at the moment, I've been thinking a lot about avalanche safety. Came across a really interesting article in the Telegraph that we're going to reference the Telegraph before, but, it was an interesting one. Featured advice from Henry Schneewind of Henry's Avalanche Talk. His insights are, practical, but also a reminder of how important it is to respect the mountains as conditions, improve off piste and people start to head off piste.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's great, straight talking, always on point when it comes to safety. So what stood out in this piece?
There's a lot to look at, but I mean, basically, understanding the avalanche danger levels is the first thing. He highlights the international system, which ranges from level 1, low risk, to level 5, extreme. A lot of people hear moderate risk and think it's fine, but Henry says, that even at level 3, there is considerable chance of avalanches. So level 3, really important to know. More accidents happen at that level than any other. Right?
Yeah, it's true. I think a lot of skiers overlook that part of their prep, especially when there's fresh powder to be had, People get too excited.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's another point Henry makes, actually, that sort of group dynamic thing. Recommend skiing in groups of 3 to 5 people. Fewer than 3, you're a bit at risk of not having enough hands in an emergency. More than 5, and you risk splitting up, losing focus on the safety aspect. So that sort of group size is really important between 3 and 5, basically.
Yeah. And a big group can easily turn a bit chaotic, can't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then he just talks about the importance of having the right gear and knowing how to use it. Avalanche transceivers, of course, probes and shovels, essential for off-piste skiing. But, owning that gear isn't enough. You need to practice with it, ideally every season at least. And Henry points out that if someone is buried, you've got about 15 minutes to get them out before survival chances literally plummet. Henry does suggest 2 or 3 or 4 hour session each year to refresh the skills. And it doesn't just apply to experts. Anyone heading off piste, right? They should know the basics, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely be practicing with their equipment is absolutely vital. It's ridiculous having stuff that you don't even know how to use. And I know there's been tragic accidents in the past that have involved people who unfortunately have been unable to use their gear well enough. So what else does he recommend?
Yeah, I mean, reading the terrain, the conditions, avoiding slopes of 30 degrees or more is a really key thing. Like, if you're under 30 degrees, that slope itself won't slide. You've got to be careful that there's not slopes above you that are above 30 degrees, because obviously they could slide onto that slope. But that's sort of hard and fast rule. 30 degrees or more, you're in avalanche country. Stay clear of wind-loaded slopes. They may look really great, but they're often unstable. So the wind can cause slab avalanches, which is actually basically the most sort of dangerous kind of avalanche for skiers. It stresses the importance of planning routes carefully to avoid ending up in dangerous spots like sort of cliffs and narrow gullies, often known as terrain traps, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about being proactive rather than reactive, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess talking to local experts, ski patrol, mountain guides, they know the area well, and anyone that can provide insights that, that can ensure that you're skiing in the most safe possible environment, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point of Henry's article, actually. Just enjoy the mountains, but do so with, respect and preparation.
Yep. So if you're listening and you're planning on heading off piste this season, do make sure you check conditions, pack the right gear, plan your routes properly, talk to local guides, and ensure that you know how to use your equipment and that it's well tested as well. So I think it's, the mountains are a great place, a fabulous place, but they take no prisoners.
Absolutely. I mean, you can check out that article on the Telegraph's.
Yeah. Good words, Rob. So what's coming up next? What else have we got?
Next up, we've got a company called Milobi that specialises in the French Pyrenees. We've talked quite a bit about the Pyrenees over the last few weeks. And as a result of that research, we came across Milobi, or gomilobi.com, which is their website.
Yeah, well, one thing you hear a lot at the moment, Rob, is affordability. We hear it across the news every day. And I know you and I have always agreed that heading towards the Pyrenees is one way to secure a little bit of affordable skiing, for sure.
Yeah, totally, Dom. I mean, we came across Milobi at the recent snow show, chatted to them about some of the holiday accommodation they have. And it turns out they are really set on creating this kind of hassle-free package at really good prices. So if you're solo or a couple or family, they talk about offering a great price, cutting out the middleman. So they've got 2 accommodation options, really nice cabins, and a newly renovated hotel. Plus they have the ski school in that area as well. So they can really sort of package everything up themselves. Yeah,
and we're not just talking about the average ski holiday spot. They are right in the heart of the Pyrenees National Forest. So as you can imagine, serene, gorgeous escapes, literally beautiful places to stay. Some of the pictures are superb. I need to get out to this place for sure.
Yeah.
So they've got these fabulous cabins, superb views, spectacular sunsets. They're southwest facing, so you get maximum sunlight during the day, and the sunsets, wow. I mean, it really does look spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, they're quite secluded, but very accessible, these places. So you're only 10 minutes from the main road, D929. It means it's super easy to get to, and it's just 20 minutes from the ski resort of Saint-Lary as well, and 25 minutes from Laudenvale. So if you're looking for a base, for a Pyrenean adventure, it's a great spot for that.
Yeah, I like Saint-Lary. I went there probably about 8 or 10 years ago. So yeah, very nice area. Right. I have no idea why I've never been back. I remember the food being great, the prices being good. Yeah, definitely a good reason. So talked about holiday packages that cut out the middleman. So you're getting good value for money, something close to everyone's heart right now. Yeah, definitely worth looking them up.
Yeah, I mean, they've got this hotel currently undergoing a full renovation, and by February 2025 it'll be opening with some real sort of serious upgrades. 6 to 8 luxury studios, 17 rooms, very modern and stylish, sort of that cozy chalet style vibe. And then they range from intimate studios to sort of big apartments. They can sleep up to 6 people as well, so perfect for a group or a family. All the rooms have got kitchens for the option to save more on self-catering, so you've got that sort of flexibility within the hotel, which is pretty cool. And they also have a sort of really luxurious, but it's not expensive there, it's normal prices kind of bar on the ground floor. So that's opening for this season.
Cool. They've definitely sewn it all up then. So they've got a bit of luxury space. They've got a nice inexpensive bar. What more could you possibly want? And the skiing's good there. I don't know why I've never been back, actually. Transfer times I remember being good as well. You can go from Lords to Toulouse airports. They're pretty decent transfer times, and you can get there in no time, which makes it so convenient for those sort of quick winter getaways as well. So yeah, definitely worthwhile.
And I know, like I said, I have been to that area, and eating out, and even on the mountain, it's not expensive. Relatively, it's definitely easier on the pocket.
And the ski resorts themselves, I mean, they've got a modern lift infrastructure down there. They're far less crowded compared to some of the major resorts. So you get all the perks of modern skiing, and then you just don't have that sort of real sort of busy slopes and more expensive. So definitely worth checking them out at gomelobi.com. What have we got next, Rob?
Well, where is best to ski now, Dom? There's starting to be a lot more places that are best to ski now than there was a few weeks ago, right? As I mentioned earlier, I've been in Tignes this week. I was in Val Thorens last weekend, and I'm also heading back there this weekend. Conditions are good, certainly above that 1,800 meter mark. Yep. There's been some snow this week too. It's getting better. There's more snow forecast here over the weekend. I mean, I'm looking out my window. I'm literally looking out the window now across Tignes, and it's snowing. So that's great.
Love it. Well, December's when most of the Northern Hemisphere ski season starts to kick off early in the month. Just a few hundred resorts are open, but by the end, it's more than 5,000 across 75 countries, including Europe, Asia, North America, and even North Africa. So where's worth heading to in December?
In Europe, let's have a look at Europe first. I mean, I'd like to see the snow line coming down a bit. Currently, it's between 1,500 and 1,800 meters in France. So sort of those high altitude resorts right now are still your best bet. It's going to get colder in the next week, and the snow line is going to come down. In Austria, the likes of Solden, Obergurgl, and Ischgl are looking good. Switzerland has got some great early season options. If you look at Sazfay, of course, on the glacier, Zermatt and Davos, French favourites like Val Thorens, Tignes and Les Deux Alpes. They're obviously up and running now, along with some Italian spots like Cervinia and Cortina. They tend to open up pretty early as well, and they're doing okay. I'm heading to the Swiss Valais region at the end of next week. So the likes of Cromontana, Verbia and Nendaz, they've got snow. They're all high, so it's pretty good there as well.
Yeah, and don't forget Scandinavia too. Resorts, they embrace the colder, darker days with floodlit runs at this time of the season. And the situation is pretty good there. Temperatures are currently cold, down to minus 18 in some places during the night, including Hemsedal. And there's some nice regular snowfalls too. Not massive dumps, but just enough to keep topping things up, which is nice. It's looking a bit milder and sunnier as we head towards Christmas there, but still well below freezing levels. So that's also great.
Yeah, and I can see that in Scotland there has been a bit of snow and some skiing. It's forecast to snow this weekend with pretty cold temperatures. So actually it could be pretty good there.
Very good.
What about North America, Dom?
Yep, so across the Atlantic, it's all about Thanksgiving at the end of November, but many resorts are already open by December the 1st, with snowmaking playing a key role. Banff and Jasper in Canada, they often have a head start with a month of skiing under their belts by then, and currently it's looking pretty good with snow on the ground. Temperatures remaining below freezing with the odd snowfall forecast over the coming couple of weeks. So yeah, looking pretty good.
So on the East Coast, this time of year, they start to get those cold temperatures. Snowmaking is big. There's around a quarter of the ski area currently open in Killington right now.
Okay.
It's pretty cold, and they've got more snow coming. Over in the west, sort of more Rockies area, things are shaping up quite nicely. Big Sky, Montana has plenty of groomed terrain opening up. More snow's forecast there. It's sunny right now over in Beaver Creek, Colorado. There's a men's downhill race today, Friday the 6th of December. And over the weekend, there's a Super G and a giant slalom race as well. So decent conditions for the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. But the great thing about skiing before Christmas is it's generally you'll find empty slopes and maybe slightly reduced lift passes, nice fresh rental gear because it's the new gear season, less queues at the lifts and at the bar. Sounds like I'm going to have a good week next week. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's true, Dom. I mean, it's great here in Team right now. It's not too busy. With Christmas and New Year, we're hoping that this year we're going to get a snowy December, and it's actually started pretty well. I mean, there's good snow out there right now.
Yep, so that winds up our snow report for this week. Let's have a look at what gear we've got. First up, we've got the Scott Flow Pro MIPS helmet. Easy for you to say. So it's 180 quid, really nice helmet that I've got my hands on. I'm going to try it next week. It's a freeride helmet with features all over it. So it's got the Temperature regulation, making sure you stay at the right temperature so you can adjust the vents, really fine adjustment. Got Reco, the avalanche safety, and MIPS, the rotational falling integrated system in your helmet. If you haven't heard of MIPS, look out for the yellow badge and look at our YouTube channel. Great eco features as well. So 98% PC, minimum 50% recycled EPS liner, more than 42% eco content by weight, which is really good. Weighs approximately 500 grams, this helmet. It's really, really nice. Check out that. It's the Scott Flow Pro MIPS Reco helmet, tech designed by Jeremy Heights. So take a look on YouTube. Also, we can leave that in the notes. It's worthwhile having a look at the review. We've also got a YouTube video on best helmets for winter 2024-25. It's had about 3,000 views in a week, so it's well worth checking out, as that will give you a range of helmets to choose from for this season.
Just also from Scott, I'll just chuck in, we've got the vest. It's another bit of protection, actually. The Vest Airflow W's, retail price of £140. Comes in like a fresh green, sort of dark blue color. Looks really nice. Nice change from black as well. So it is a back protector, but a good looking one and a very comfy one as well. Very ventilated, so you stay cool and comfortable. One-time adjustable weight belt. Very simple, very simple and easy to use, basically. So that is the Scott Vest Airflow W's.
So that's the Scott Vest Airflow W's, 140 quid. Nice one, Rob. I like that. So then we got some Fisher boots. So Fisher really popular this winter on their boots. The top of the range RC4 Pro MV Boa DYN DIN. It's an expensive boot, 700 odd quid, but it's got a zip fit liner. So when that's taken into consideration, it kind of explains the price a bit. I think there's limited stock on these now. I was having a look around, but it's been so popular in the iconic yellow and a little bit of purple from Fisher. So serious high performance free ride boot. It features the BOA system for tightening up your boots to give a micro adjustment fit. It's the RC4 zip fit liner. So you get the good heel lock, stability with the vacuum shells and the carbon fused cuff. So you get big stiffness, really great stiffness and stability. So for true free riders, the integrated Dynafit insert in the toe makes the boot uphill compatible with the multi-norm bindings, downhill compatible with gripboard bindings. So you're going to be sending some big lines in these boots.
Tell you what, if I get out of this boot with a BOA free ride boot, I'll be sending big lines, I would say.
Well, Fisher,
at the moment, I'm not on a free ride boot, so clearly it's just not happening for me. It sounds great. It sounds really interesting, this boot.
It's a decent boot. They're top of the line, really. I think Fisher say there's a wider range of women's boots with BOA planned for 25-26, and they can see the range of skis and boots on test at the GB ski test that we talked about earlier. So gbskitest.com again. It's also worth noting the GB ski Billy Major is skiing on Fisher kit this season. So and freestyle skier Tyler Harding. So that's testament itself, isn't it? So there is another boot that's a similar spec, but more mid-price range. BOA on the men's and women's, meaning more comfort across the foot. So it's the RC4 MV110 men's at around 450 quid, so slightly more palatable. Great boot for advanced skiers, BOA fit, as we talked about, plus the IFZ performance liner, vacuum shell, makes for easy fitting, great downhill performance, grip walk sole, so you get that security and convenience across all ski day conditions if you're walking about. 450 quid. And for the women, you get the RC4 MV95 woman. So nice boots.
Right, onto the Montec Fork bib pants. Montec, nice brand, seeing that a lot around at the moment. This is designed for sort of, peak performance, comfort across all terrain as well. Waterproof and breathable, Shieldtech membrane. It's got fully taped seams, very durable, customizable insulation options. These ski pants, trousers, whatever you want to call them, provide unmatched protection. I mean, that's what Montec say. They do always make that sort of high-end product. This is made from recycled polyester. A blue design, which is basically a brand name, approved fabrics. They're eco-friendly. They've got zipped vents, elasticated snow gaiters, reinforced hems, adjustable waist and suspenders, and a front access zipper as well. Currently priced at £195. They're great for sort of all sorts of skiing, really, piste, off-piste, all of that kind of stuff.
I like that Montec gear. It looks nice. They get some good colorways, and the gear looks good. They're all over social media. Definitely worth looking that up. We mentioned the best ski helmets video that we've already got on the YouTube channel, so that's worth looking out. We've got a best ski goggle feature coming out later this month. Definitely. There's a few gear videos that are coming out now, Rob, and obviously we'll be heading off to the ski test in just over a month's time, where there'll be a lot more ski reviews coming for the 25-26 winter season. Cannot believe that we're talking about that already. We haven't even finished 2024 yet. So there you go.
We are now moving on to our destination of the week, and it is skiing in Les Deux Alpes.
Wow, nice.
We're going to take you, listeners, to one of the most iconic and, let's face it, vibrant ski resorts in the French Alps, Les Deux Alpes. Right? If you're looking for like epic skiing, stunning views, and an après ski scene that really can compete with the best, I mean, this is the place, right?
All right, Rob, before we get ahead of ourselves, so listeners, you might not know where Les Deux Alpes is. So, Rob, where is Les Deux Alpes? Tell me.
Well, let's just start with the fact that it's in the French Alps, of course, but it is in the Isère department of southeastern France, close to the town of Grenoble. The nearest airport is Grenoble, about 100 kilometers away, so transfer time of just over an hour and a half. If you're flying into Geneva, it's about 2.5 hours away by car, so, not too bad either, actually.
Yeah, cool. Les Deux Alpes is known for its high energy vibe, so it's got quite a lot going on. Great mix of that sort of tradition and modern buildings as well. It's divided into distinct sectors, each with its own character. So you can start your journey near the tourist office at one end, and you head along this sort of sun-drenched 2-kilometer main street that leads right into the heart of the main village. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, and that's where you'll find that sort of lively centre as well. Sort of that place to really kick off the trip if you get there and go to that area. It's the home to sort of the major gondola stations. There's an outdoor ice rink. There's this kind of really nice, vibrant mix of shops, restaurants, bars, hotels, lots of atmosphere. Architecture is, this kind of great blend, really. It's got a traditional wooden chalets, but it's also got these, quite sleek sort of contemporary buildings as well. So it has got a great mix of sort of rustic charm and modern style.
Definitely a good looking place, isn't it? It's nice. We've had some good après times there as well. Convenience is another big plus. Most of the accommodation is just a short walk from the ski lift, so that's really nice. You can make the most of the time on the mountain and then just get straight back to your accommodation very quickly. And then when the sun sets, the resort really does transform. The après scene here is pretty damn cool. I mean, it's a great mix of sort of relaxation and fun and dancing on tables. Makes it one of the best places to unwind after a day on the slopes, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, but let's start talking about the skiing now, because Les Deux Alpes is famous for its high altitude ski area, of course, and incredible snow record. Has got a very good snow record.
Yep.
It's one of those resorts where you can count on, the snow there, and they often get these pretty epic conditions as well, all the way through the season. It starts early. It's got 420 hectares of marked slopes and over 200 kilometers of snow-shore terrain. 75% of the slopes are above 2,000 meters as well. That kind of altitude, you're guaranteed good conditions.
So there's 80 pieces in total here. I was just checking this out while you were talking there. So it says that there's 16 greens, 46 blues, 16 reds and 10 blacks. So it's an absolute paradise for those sort of early intermediate skiers to really roll around on those blues and then race into some of those reds and maybe even try their hand on some of the blacks. So yeah, something for every level of skier. It's broken down into several key areas, each offering something a bit unique. So for beginners, you've got the resort sector at 1650, which has free button lifts and a ski school, which is really nice.
And then you've got Le Crête, which is at 2,100 meters. It's great for beginners as well. Great. Really nice blue runs there. And then you've got the Vallée Blanche. It's also at 2,100 meters. You've got quieter, more scenic trails. It's not perfect if you're looking to take it easy, enjoy the views. But for advanced skiers, head to Le Diable at 2,400 meters. And there you've got loads of challenging kind of red runs and black runs as well. So yeah, it's a good area for.
And then if you're into freestyle, obviously there's Tour. So at 2,600 meters, that's the place to be if you're into your sort of freestyle skiing. Snowpark here is renowned for its sort of big features, rails, boxes, big air jumps. Plus there's the legendary La Fée area for free riders who want to dive in some off-piste adventure. So it's a very cool area up there.
Yeah, and then don't forget the glacier sector, right? It's a bit of a highlight really of Les Deux Alpes. I mean, it's at 3,600 meters. It's the highest skiing area in Europe. You've got this amazing 360-degree view. There's a mix of runs for all levels up there. You're basically that high. I mean, it's always natural snow conditions, and it's great that actually you don't have to be an expert skier to ski on that high area in Les Deux Alpes. And you can experience that real sort of mountain feel and ski on blue runs as well. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. And then obviously it's got loads of decent food places on mountain. They've got Chalet de la Tour, located at the top of the Jandry Express gondola. Panoramic views, great terrace. Yeah, I mean, that's a lovely place to go and get lunch.
Yeah, and then there's Le Mélizé. I think you pronounce it like that anyway. That's at 2,200 meters. Yeah, that place been serving up, well, our favorite delicious tartiflette, grilled meats as well for over 30 years now. Something a little bit special, Le Pitache at the foot of the Viking chairlift. That's been awarded a Maître au Restaurateur label. So, yeah, top-notch place, that.
That place is beautiful. I love it. So, and then back in the village, you've got some great options too. Lagrange is a bit of a local's favourite. They've got loads of fresh dishes that really pride themselves on their local ingredients. And if you're looking for true, sort of hearty, you've got to try their cassoulet. It's absolutely gorgeous. That I love it. And if you're a fan of Spanish cuisine, Le Pays, I'll put these in the notes as well in case my pronunciation doesn't help you. But they have superb paella. So, yeah, they do that in a wood-fired oven. So that's absolutely delicious.
And you know what? When it comes to that après ski, Le Deux Alpes definitely has a very vibrant scene. Yeah, you've got Le Panneau Bar. I mean, that's a must visit. It's right at the top of the Gendry Express. It's got amazing views, great atmosphere. And then right in the heart of the village, you've got Smithy's. And it's got live music and DJs. Yeah, it's a good night out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the Umbrella Bar as well, popular après spot with big old vibe going on, or Avalanche, which turns into a nightclub for those who want to dance the night away through the night. There's also the Secret, so that's a hidden bar that only those who need to know about it have found out. So it's tucked away in a little small alley. I don't know whether you've ever been to the Secret, but that's very cool as well. So yeah, plenty on.
Didn't know about it actually.
Well, yeah, it's on a need to know basis. Right?
You're giving it away now. Never found that. Yeah, you know what? The Deux Alpes, it's not resting on its laurels. I mean, obviously a famous ski resort, but this year they've introduced the brand new Gendry 3S cable car. It's a game changer for the resort. I mean, it replaces the original Gendry Express, which was built, I think, in 1985. But this offers a much smoother, faster ride right up to 3,200 meters.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to the resort about this for a couple of years. It's been exciting waiting for it to come. Of course, it being live for this season is very exciting. So it's based on 3 cables for major stability, so it makes it more resistant to wind. Can transport 3,000 people per hour, so it cuts down on wait times, which is always good. The key thing is the ride time as well. It takes only 17 minutes, so it used to be 40 minutes before, and it's reduced that down to 17 minutes. This new Gendry lift, I mean, every news story that's coming out of Le Deux Alpes in the minute mentions the Gendry lift, and it's absolutely fantastic development. So very exciting, and I very much look forward to seeing that for sure.
Yeah, and one of the cool things is that actually they've got 7 pylons on this lift, and that previously there were 17.
Yeah.
And so that it's got much sort of more minimal impact on the environment. And this is something that lift companies are really thinking about now. And when they replace a lift like that, they make them more eco-friendly, and they think about the environment, and there's a lot of rules and regulations around where they can put those pylons. So that's really cool. 7 instead of 17. I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
And the new lift stations, they look fantastic. The new lift stations look superb. And when you reach the top, views are absolutely breathtaking up there. You can see the whole valley and the majestic peaks of the Alps absolutely look superb. So as you said, superb, seeing that hugely reduced time to get you up the hill, get more time skiing at the end of the day.
Yeah, right. There's a few other things though. That's not all. Le Deux Alpes has also been busy with other developments. There's a major upgrade to the Vallée Blanche sector, making it more accessible and environmentally friendly as well. Plus, they've introduced a new green beginner's slope at Pied Moutet. 3 free access training areas at the base of the resort as well, including the Coolidge area. It's got a magic carpet as well. Nice. So, yeah, lots of other stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, then without a doubt, I mean, you said it at the start, they're certainly not resting on their laurels. I mean, this is a mega resort, and they're maintaining they're putting their stamp on it for sure. So from beginners to experts, they're really investing. So yeah, you've got that high altitude terrain, or if you're going there for your first turns, Le Deux Alpes really does have everything to offer. It's an incredible place to ski. I love the place.
Also, if you're wondering where to stay, Le Deux Alpes has a wide range of accommodation options. You've got luxury chalets to budget-friendly self-catered apartments. So whatever your budget, there is a place for that.
Yeah. And if you're looking to book, you might want to look at Peak Retreats. They offer some great packages for Le Deux Alpes. They've got you covered for all kinds of accommodation and can organise your transfers and all of that as well. So, you can focus on really matters, which is having a good time on the slope. So check out peakretreats.co.uk and check out Les Deux Alpes.
Yeah, We know Peak Retreats very well, and of course you get the benefit of their advice and the booking system that they've got, which is hassle-free. I mean, all you need to do is enjoy yourself, right?
Good stuff. So that's it for today's Destination Spotlight. If you're planning your next ski adventure, Les Deux Alpes should definitely be on your radar. Check out peakretreats.co.uk for more info and to book your trip today. What's next, Rob?
Well, we've got a very special guest on. You know, he doesn't need an introduction, really. I mean, you might know him as the fearless ski jumper who defied all expectations at the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary. Classic moment where he stood on that ski jump. He's literally soared to fame with his undying determination. I mean, even though he finished last in both of his events. But
Rob, sounds like we're heading into our desert island ski resort. Yes, Rob, a media sensation for this unshakable spirit and his trademark daring jumps. No matter where life has taken him since, he's always stayed true to his roots. An underdog from Cheltenham who never gave up. His story of perseverance, passion, staying true to himself turned him into an absolute legend and even inspired the 2016 film Eddie the Eagle, starring Taron Egerton. So let's keep this steady and all stand ready as we welcome to the show the one and only Eddie the Eagle Edwards.
Hi, Eddie. How are you doing? It's great to have you on here.
Thank you very much. Haven't seen you in the flesh for a little while.
It has been a little bit of a while, Eddie. But we are talking about ski jumping today, and I'm really interested in actually how you first got into ski jumping in the first place.
Well, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, basically. I was in Lake Placid in upstate New York doing my ski racing, and it was very, very expensive. It was costing me like $300 a day to do my training, and I couldn't afford it, and I was running out of money, and it was either come back to the UK and go back to plastering with me dad, or find something cheaper to do. And I saw the ski jumps and went to have a look, and I was amazed by the size of the jumps. And I asked if I could have a go, and they said, yeah, there's a lost property shed at the bottom of the jump. It's got some old equipment in there. Find something that fits, and off you go. So they left me to my own devices, and off I went. But that was, 36, 38 years ago.
Okay.
So things like health and safety have come in over the last 35 years and made it much more difficult.
So, Eddie, how do you even start? If my daughter decided, look, I want to be a ski jumper, I want to be just like Eddie, where do we start?
First of all, I would start with the real basics. Use alpine skis, get onto an alpine slope, and find little bumps that you can do jumps off, and get used to flying through the air with skis on. That's the best thing to do. And just practice jumps. And then those jumps, you'll get faster, you'll jump further, and just be comfortable flying through the air, even if it's with alpine skis. That's the first thing you've got to do. And then eventually, when you feel confident flying through the air, go to a local ski jump. They should have small jumps there, a 5-meter jump or a 10-meter jump, and they can probably give you some equipment and then go on a proper jump. The most difficult thing is switching from alpine equipment to Nordic equipment. It's very different.
And is there a technique for that even at the beginning?
Not at that stage, no. When you're doing alpine skiing and just jump off a bump, just jump. You don't jump forward, you don't jump backwards, you just jump upright and fly through the air. And it's the same when you start actually on the ski jumps themselves with Nordic equipment. Because you're only jumping on a 5-meter jump or a 10-meter jump, you're not going very fast. There's no need to start going forward, all that kind of thing, and get that air pressure, because you won't get it on a 10-meter jump. If you can use alpine skis and just get used to flying through the air, that's one bit less that you have to worry about when you actually get onto the Nordic jumps.
There must be a leap, though, at some point between your alpine jumps and everything else to actually, I'm jumping this high and now suddenly I've got to go right up there.
Well, it depends on what country you live in. Different places have different size jumps. So you can, if you want to, go on a 10-meter jump, then move up to a 20-meter jump, then 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So you can do that, but you've got to do a lot of traveling to do that. What we generally do is maybe go on a 10-meter jump, then move up to a 30-meter jump, then move up to a 60-meter jump, then up to a 70 or a 75-meter, then a 90-meter. So you can skip a few if you want to. The bigger the jump, the faster you go. You then start developing that technique where you're jumping forward, you're feeling that air pressure under your skis, and you're able to fly through the air. But if you move along too quickly, it can get very, very scary, and you can make a lot of mistakes and then injure yourself quite badly. So it's better to stay on, say, a 40 or a 60-meter jump for as long as possible to try and start mastering that technique. And then from there on to the 90-meter, it gets better and better, and you'll jump further and further.
And so that technique, when you're jumping off those bigger jumps, let's go up to that sort of 30, 40 meters. Obviously, we're into different equipment, which we'll touch on in a minute, but the actual technique, you see the way you're tucked in, you're in that full sort of aerodynamic pose. And then when you come off the end of that jump and you seem to be almost reaching for the tips of your skis, where, you know, in your position, just talk us through that positioning, because it just is obviously alien to a lot of us alpine skiers.
So when you're coming down the jump, you're picking up speed, you're in an aerodynamic position, get as aerodynamic as possible, so you're going as fast as possible. And then as soon as you come to the takeoff, you've got to kind of go over your knees, and your head has got to try and go towards the tips of your skis. And that is very, very difficult to do psychologically, because you're doing, even on a 40-meter jump, you're still doing about 40 miles an hour. And then to dive forwards out over your skis is very difficult to do. And also now we do the V style. So when you take off, you actually open your skis out into a V, and that creates more air resistance. And then you use those as a parachute kind of thing, and you fly through the air. And then eventually you'll get used to that, jumping forward, feeling that air pressure under your skis. And if you can do it consistently well, then you will want to then go up to the 60-meter, the 70-meter, the 90-meter, and then you'll fly. But you've got to get that technique first. If you don't get that technique, you can still move up to the 90-meter. You just won't jump very far. It's better to jump on the smaller jump, really get that technique going, and then it's much easier then to move up to the 90-meter and do consistently good long jumps.
Sounds pretty terrifying, doesn't it, Rob?
It is. I was just as scared to do my last jump as I was to do my first. You never get used to it, but it's important to be scared, because it makes you focus, it makes you concentrate. Because I didn't want to hurt myself, and I certainly didn't want to kill myself. So, you will naturally, be careful, and sometimes you will frighten yourself, and you'll take a few steps back, and it's kind of a couple of steps forwards, one step back, a couple of steps forwards, one step back. But you get used to that, and you will eventually start really jumping well and consistently well. So it will come in the end.
I remember standing on top of the big jump in Courchevel once. I was terrifying just standing on the top of that thing, but then watching people go off of it. They don't look scared at the time, but I guess once you get to that stage, I mean, how long does it take a ski jumper to get up to, say, a 90-meter jump?
To go from a total beginner up to, say, a 90-meter or 120-meter ski jump, you'd be looking at anything from 7 years to 10 years, maybe.
Wow.
Sometimes you can do it a little bit earlier if you've got that, that courage, and you're able to overcome that fear. And of course, the earlier you start, the better. Because if you start ski jumping at 4 or 5 years old, it's not until you're about 8 or 9 when you start to think what fear is, but by which time you've already mastered the technique. So it's better if you start from, say, 4 or 5. If you're 10 or 11 and you know what fear is, that is a huge obstacle to overcome. I mean, most people, when I started ski jumping at 22, they said, you'll never go very far. You'll never get off a 70 or a 90-meter. You won't jump more than 50 meters. But I managed to prove everybody wrong, because I was quite, gutsy, really, and I sort of pushed it. But generally, you've got to start young.
When was the last time you jumped, Eddie?
It was about 3 years ago, just after COVID. I jumped in Courchevel. That's my nearest ski jump, really, Courchevel. I was offered to go ski jumping in Finland, but because of COVID, I couldn't get up there and do any ski jumping. So
still with your experience, when you stepped out and you're ready to let go, are you absolutely crapping yourself like we would be?
Not really. I am nervous because I don't want to hurt myself. But I use that nervousness to make me focus and concentrate. I put my jumping skis on and I'm ready to go. I keep checking my bindings, make sure they're there, make sure everything's perfect. I slide out onto that bar and I get ready to go. And I almost get angry, because if I get angry and I say, right, I'm going to attack this jump, it's much easier when I'm really hyped up and angry, and I get angry with myself and I want to really go for it. And it kind of drives things forward. Whereas just sitting there and being timid, when you come to the takeoff, it's very easy then just to jump up. And then you won't go very far. So I kind of use different technique to push me and get me jumping as far as I can.
And your skis, I mean, when I compare them to my skis, I mean, they look like your skis are, I don't know, 2.5 meters long. What sort of length of skis are you on?
Yeah, the skis, they're much wider than alpine skis. So they've got like 5 grooves down the base of the ski, and that helps for stability and things like that. And jumping skis will range from 240 centimeters up to 295. It just depends on how tall you are.
Wow.
In competition, I think there's a rule that you can't use jumping skis more than 80 centimeters above your head height. You have to be a bit careful. You can't just get a peak pair of jumping skis and go, because, on a big jump, you're doing 70 miles an hour. And when you take off, that's a lot of pressure underneath your skis. And if you can't control that pressure, it could make you somersault and do all kinds of things, and you could get into a whole lot of trouble.
We mentioned a couple of places there. I mentioned Courchevel already, mentioned Finland. Is there any other places that people might be able to see ski jumps, or maybe even approach the club there to try and say, or if they've got kids and they're there for a long time, can they try out something? I mean, where would be the place? I mean, Courchevel's an obvious one, but
Courchevel is great, because they've got the 70 and 90 meter, but Courchevel also have a 60 meter, and I think they have a 30 meter and possibly a 10 meter as well.
Right, I think that's
going to a place like Courchevel is ideal, because they've got the range of jumps that you can use. So you can go from a 10 meter to the 120 meter just in one place. There are other jumps which only have, say, a 70 meter jump, or there are other places that only have a 90 meter. So you can't have a go. It's just for, really for, people who are already quite good jumpers. One of the best places in Europe is a place called Oberstdorf. And of course, that's one of the 4 hills tournaments. And so there too, they have, 10, 15, 20 meter, 30 meter, 50 meter, 75 meter, 90 meter, 120 meter. So they've got a good range of jumps. So that's always a good place as well. Innsbruck, you've got the Begiesel, which is the big famous jump in the middle of Innsbruck.
Yeah.
But just outside Innsbruck, there are lots of little jumps. So you can go and do a 20 meter and a 40 meter in a place called Natters, which is only like 10 minutes away from Innsbruck. And lots of other little resorts around there where you can have a go at little ski jumps. Often, if I'm driving along near Innsbruck and I'll look across, there's a ski jump, and you can just go along and have a word with the people in the club, and usually, they'll have some equipment, and you can have a go, and they're quite safe. The 10 meter jumps, the takeoff is only about 6 inches, so you only fall about 6 inches, so it's not very bad. But it's well worth having a go. I would encourage anybody to have a go at ski jumping.
And what did you have a favourite?
Yes, my favourite ski jumps tended to be the jumps where I jumped really well. And those kind of jumps were places like Seefeld in Austria. I always jumped well in Seefeld. There's a place called Tavokoski, which is right up in the Arctic Circle in Finland. That was one of my favourite jumps as well, because it was always in darkness. So we jumped under floodlight. And I really like jumping under floodlight. You get a much better idea of where you are in relation to the snow. And a place called Kuusamo in Finland as well. That's a really good jump. I love there. And I trained a lot in Lake Placid in upstate New York. So that's one of my favorite jumps as well. And of course, Park City, Utah. They've got some beautiful jumps there too.
For the Olympics, I guess, in 2004, right? Which they'll use again in a few years away. But I guess they'll use those again when the Olympics go back to that area.
I hope so, because they haven't got many jumps in America, but the ones they do have are very nice, whether it's the eastern side or the western side. And Canada as well. I think they've only got one jump now in Canada. They used to have Thunder Bay, which has gone now. You can't jump in Calgary anymore, so that's gone. So the only jump they've got now is Whistler from Vancouver in 2010.
Well, I mean, if you can't jump in Calgary, Eddie, then I guess that means in some ways there will never be another Eddie the Eagle ever again.
Well, who knows? It'd be nice if there was, but I can't see it happening anytime soon. They've made it so difficult now that yeah, it'll be difficult to get another person like me, unfortunately.
Eddie, I think that's the case. Regardless of ski jumping or anything else, it would be very difficult to find another Eddie the Eagle. There is that's an absolute fact.
That's very kind, I think.
It is very kind. You're a legend of our day. I grew up, knowing your name, and you are absolutely a legend of our era. And it's fantastic having you on today to talk about ski jumping, because there is bound to be people out there that are sitting there saying, how do I become the next Eddie the Eagle? And I wonder, let's hope that we've maybe spurred them on. It's fantastic information. I'm sure there's 1,000,001 more questions we could think of asking you, including your more recent rise to further fame after everything. And that must have been quite a shock to your sister that they start making a movie about you. I can imagine that phone call was also pretty interesting for you.
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, I signed the deal to make that movie 25 years ago. And it just was a long time coming. The project kept stalling. And then after 10 years, I thought, well, the film will never be made. And it was only because I did a TV show in the UK that was the impetus then to make the film. But I'm glad it took as long as it did, because they had time to reflect. And they did such a great job with the film, and I love it. It still makes me cry when I watch it. It's very inspirational, and
totally,
yeah, I still love it to this day.
It is absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Just going to say, it is a brilliant film, and we've watched it together, Eddie. And I think when we watched it, you told me you'd seen it like 100 times already, but
yes.
I could see how passionate you were about the film and how much you really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Dexter Fletcher, the director, did a brilliant job.
Yeah.
And he really captured the heart and spirit and essence of my story. And of course, my life was much, much more difficult than the film portrayed. But what they did use in the film, they did absolutely brilliantly. And I couldn't believe how much Taron Egerton looked and sounded and acted like me. He made the film so easy to watch because he played me so well. And,
brilliant.
I still love it. I've watched the film over 160 times now. So it's brilliant.
So, Eddie, this segment of our podcast is called Desert Island Ski Resort, and we call it that for the one reason that our last killer question at the end is to ask you, if you could only ski in one resort for the rest of your life, where would that be?
Oh, now that would be very, very difficult. I guess for me, it would be Kicking Horse, which is just on the Alberta, British Columbia border. It's only got about 1 or 2 hotels, only about 3 lifts. Snow, I think they average about 45 feet of powder snow every year. They have amazing snow. It gets very cold, but it's amazing going through powder, around trees, off little cliffs. Amazing. So if I could only ski one place for the rest of my life, it would probably
it's a cool place. That.
Well, that's a fantastic answer. We haven't had that one yet, have we, Rob?
No, and I mean I've been to Kicking Horse, and I tell you what, I'd be tempted to put that into my if you're never going to ski anywhere else again. Fantastic terrain there. Yeah.
It's impressive, Eddie. Thank you so much for your time today, imparting your knowledge. As I say, we could talk to you for hours, because I know you have stories and anecdotes coming out of your ears, which we've heard, some have heard before and some haven't. And it's a great pleasure having you on the White Owl podcast today. And we really do thank you for coming on and imparting your knowledge of how to become a ski jumper.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great interview, wasn't it, Dom? I mean, we could have spoken to Eddie for hours and hours on end.
Absolutely. I mean, we could do multiple episodes just on Eddie the Eagle. He's got all the anecdotes. He's been there and done it.
Yeah, definitely. The cool thing is, as I mentioned earlier on in the podcast, is that you can go skiing with him this winter. Ski Weekends has launched a new holiday in the ski resort of Leger, staying with Eddie, the Eagle, Edwards, of course. Guests will stay at Chalet Marjorie, right in the heart of Leger. It's over a week during January, but there's options for sort of shorter and longer stays through the chalet as well. Eddie's in the chalet from Friday, 17th of January, 2025 for 6 days. And then guests can choose from a sort of range of stay durations, starting on Thursday, the 16th of January. So you can stay for 3, 4 or 7 nights. And then through that week, there's other starting points that you could go at. So, check that all out on the website. You've got a special Savoyard dinner with Eddie. He's going to join guests for dinner as well. You can go skiing with Eddie in a group. It's a social group. He's not a guide or anything like that. It's just going out skiing with Eddie during the day. And trust me, I've skied with Eddie loads of times. He's a super nice guy. He's a really good skier. He's, of course, a ski instructor by trade, really. He's a qualified ski instructor. So he's very sort of like, when you ski with him, he's a very good skier, but he doesn't just zoom off. He's really nice guy just to ski with, really. So yeah, check it out at skiweekends.com or give them a call on 02380 206 971.
Great stuff. What a great trip. Definitely enjoy the idea of skiing with Eddie the Eagle. He's such a great personality. So that's it for this week's podcast. Thanks for tuning into the White Out. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review. It really helps us out. And be sure to follow us on YouTube, which is absolutely exploding at the moment for us. Instagram, where we're reaching over 1 million accounts in any 30 days, Rob. So it's very exciting. Even TikTok is starting to get exciting. So for all the latest updates, behind the scenes content and more, you can check us out on all of those channels. In the meantime, Rob, safe travels in your onto your next resort where you're heading on to Val Thorens, and we will see you in a week's time.
Yeah, thanks, Dom.
Have a good one. Adios.
See you then.
Bye-bye.
No, talkie-walkie.
Pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.